Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today we're going to be talking about next level candlestick trading. I would venture to say that almost all of you in today's audience have either used candlestick trading in the past or are currently using candlesticks. And I would venture to say that most of you are not trying or in any way seeing partial results of what you were promised. For example, let's take a look at this older chart here. And there's an older chart in Workday. The traditional way in which to apply candlesticks is as a reversal method or as a reversal pattern. For example, we see a nice steady upward move here in the stock. So if you were applying candlestick trading, what you would look for is some type of reversal pattern telling you that this uptrend is going to end. And now it's either time to exit your long position or to go short. And what we have here in this uptrend, if you see at the very end, we have one of the most prominent candle patterns, and it's very negative. It's called a bearish engulfing pattern. So this would venture to say is the place where you should exit your long position or go short. So let's say you decided to sell right here based on that bearish engulfing pattern. Okay, and then look what happened. Very next day, it gaps up. This is why most traders are not happy with trading candlesticks in the conventional way. They just don't have a lot of consistency. Sure, they'll work every once in a while, but as you just saw right now, this was a perfect example of using candlestick patterns and how they really don't help you a lot of the time. Well, based on what I'm going to be sharing with you today, you would not have taken that sell signal at all. In fact, prior to that sell signal, a couple of bars prior to that, you actually would have seen a buy signal generated with the non-traditional way I'm going to explain to you today, and you would have potentially been able to capture upwards of 35 points in about 3 or 4 days. So this is going to be the subject of today's educational presentation. Next level candlestick trading. And the method I'm going to be sharing with you today, you'll be able to access easily with one click on the PTS Primo charting platform. I developed and designed this platform with Pro Trader Strategies so that it actually teaches you how to trade next level candlestick trading. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 48 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist where I made markets in roughly about 60 stocks. I traded through the crash of 87 and the bull market that followed. So I've traded straight up markets, straight down markets, sideways markets. I left the floor in the mid-90s to manage money and to also trade my own account. And about 15 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies to formulate Specialist Trading with one goal, that's simply to educate traders. And the reason why we really want to focus on educating traders is because we feel that's the one thing that's missing in most traders' toolbox. Most traders like to go out, spend $10,000, $20,000 on equipment, on the newest system or strategy, and ultimately they find out that they're not seeing the type of results and they're failing and they're losing a lot of money. Why? Because you've taken yourself out of the game and you're relying on someone or something else to tell you what to trade. With specialist trading, we don't have that type of formulation in the way we educate. We basically give you all the things I've accumulated in nearly 50 years that have high levels of consistency, and then work with you so that you can decide how you want to trade them. And you'll see that in today's educational class, where we have a really, really new and innovative way in which to trade candlesticks. Now, before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this non-traditional candle method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Okay, now another way to follow us and to get more education is to follow us on X or Twitter, however you'd like to call it. And also you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a lot of followers watching us on YouTube right now, where we're also broadcasting. So please hit that subscribe button. You'll see a lot more content, either through X or Twitter, if you'd like to call it that, or through YouTube, our YouTube presentations. All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. Now, we're going to be talking about how to achieve this next level candlestick trading. Now, it's basically a two-step process. So let's go through the process all together. The first thing you need is Candlestick Strategy number 5, all right? This is one of our best methods specifically designed for trading candlesticks. So let me share with you some of the highlights. as I just stated, it's our premier candlestick strategy. Why? Because it's a non-traditional continuation method. I'll go into detail what that means in just a few minutes. You can apply it to virtually any time frame, any market, or any direction. So there's no need to change or edit things or alter the strategy because you're trading in a different market or a different time frame. Now, we ask all of our students, whether you've been trading for 50 years or 5 weeks, to paper trade first, because you need to understand the process entirely. Our edge at specialist trading, along with not only this method, but with all of our methods and strategies, is consistency. Consistency really is a two steps forward, one step back approach. So in other words, the one step back means that you will have losses from time to time. That's all right. But if you have a consistent method, you're able to recoup that loss, often on the very next signal. That's what we mean by a two-step forward, one-step back approach. All right, so let's look at some basic strategy number 5 signals. These were a couple of older charts here. We're looking at this just to give you an idea of how it works. 2 buy signals generated in A, B, and B. And look what happened. The stock takes off to the upside, okay? Also, we have a couple of sell signals generated here in ADI, and the stock immediately drops after the second one. So you see, it has a high level of consistency. But as with everything, every strategy, every system, we know that nothing works 100% of the time. All right, here we have a valid signal to go long using candlesticks, and look what happened. Well, it went straight down. So this is the inconsistency we're talking about. And even though strategy 5 is a very consistent method, once again, there will be times where the signals don't work. So how do we take it up a notch? Well, this is where we come into the second part of the process of next level candlestick trading. That's where we apply the PET D. Now, I talk about the PET D often because I use this in my daily trading, but if you're not familiar with the PET D, it's an early trend detector. In fact, it's the best tool I know of that can determine what the short-term trend is, and that's what we're going to be using with Candlestick Strategy number 5. Now, just to give you a better idea, here's a more recent chart of Meta. As you can see, the stock was going straight up, right? It's usually right around this time where someone decides, well, I guess we're in an uptrend, I'll look to go long. And just when you get long or decide that you're in a full-fledged uptrend, this happens, right? So how could the PET D have helped us? Well, let me share with you how simple it is to apply this. On our platform, all you have to do is click on the PET D tab, and the colors will automatically change, either green or red. Now, if you see a series of consecutive green bars, that's telling you that you're in a short-term uptrend. And when you see a series of consecutive red bars, you are now in a short-term downtrend. That's how simple it is. Now, as you can see here, you would have known well in advance that Meta was going higher, and you would have known well in advance by the time it made new lows that it wanted to go lower. That's what I mean by the consistency in the PET D. Now, this is something, as I say, I've been using now for nearly 5 decades. I use it in my personal trading. Doesn't matter what time frame or what market. The colors will not change or alter. They don't repaint. Once they are turning red and the bar closes, they will remain red. And the main thing I want to stress is that the PET D is not a predictive tool. It doesn't tell you how high or how low a stock or a market will go. It's simply a translator. It translates on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do at that time. And so this is the best thing I know of being in sync with the current market you're trading. So how are we going to apply the PET D with strategy number 5? Well, here's how we're going to use it. This is where the non-traditional format comes into play, because we only want to trade candle patterns, especially Candlestick Strategy 5 signals, that are in sync with the PET D, meaning that if you get a buy signal, as we have right here, the bar above the buy signal should be colored or outlined green. That is the PET D confirming that you are in sync with the trend, not going against it. Okay. Now, traditional wisdom would tell us that, well, it doesn't matter because this is a reversal tool and candlestick patterns are very highly consistent, telling you that the bottom has been made or a top has been made. Well, remember, that didn't work too well here. But if we had applied the PET D, once again, we would have seen that the bar above the buy signal was not colored green, it was outlined red. So this is not in sync with the short-term trend, meaning you would not have taken the signal and you would have not have taken a loss as well. So this is where we go entirely against traditional candlestick trading. We're not going to use the candles as a reversal pattern. We're strictly using them only in sync with the short-term trend. This flies in the face of all the candlestick knowledge we've ever been taught. Candle patterns are always used as reversal patterns, picking a top or picking a bottom. We're not going to use them that way because we found higher level of consistency when you're using a candle pattern that is in sync with the trend. So when we apply Premier Candlestick Strategy number 5 along with the PET D, well, what we get is what we call our Candlestick Combo, one of our most popular candle methods that we have at Specialist Trading. And let me share with you why it's so popular, okay? Now, here are the rules. You're only going to buy or sell strategy number 5 signals that are in sync with the PET D. That's it, okay? So strategy 5 already has a high level of consistency. Once you add the PET D to confirm it, well, now you've just increased your odds for consistency, and now you're achieving next level candlestick trading. All right, so let's look at some more examples. And we're going to start off by looking at buys, okay? And remember, everything you're seeing today can be easily accessed on the PTS Primo charting platform. I developed this with Pro Trader strategies to make candlestick trading simple. All right, so let's look at this chart here in GILD, G-I-L-D. All right, this is going back a couple of months. Someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, there's major resistance. I went to that chat room and the guy says, don't do anything until we break out above. Now, he may be right, but why should we wait? If we're already in some type of an uptrend, we want to look for strategy 5 signals. So first thing you want to do is click on strategy 5 on our green strategy tab where all of our methods and techniques are placed. Click it on, and in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. Now, we teach you what makes up a valid strategy 5 signal. In other words, this is not a black box. It's not a system where we don't tell you the rules. You just spit out buy and sell arrows. No, we teach you what to look for. And we want you to be able to identify a strategy 5 setup on its own without the help of the arrows. But while you're learning what to look for, the arrows are a great educational tool to check your work. So let's say you think you saw maybe not 1, but 2 buy signals. Click on the signal arrow. And guess what? You're right. Here was one right here, and you had a nice run up. Excuse me. And then on this little sell-off, you have another one, okay? But if we want to take it to the next level, we want to apply the PET D to see if these were valid signals. So click on the PET D, and the colors will automatically change. Remember, we'll only take these signals if the bar above the arrow is colored or outlined green. So once we click on the PET D, look what happens. Yep, this one was outlined green. You see how it went up? And this one was outlined green. Even though the bar before it was red, it makes absolutely no difference. It would make no difference if all the bars were red. But as long as this bar was green, that's all we need. Well, it finally did gap up, and it broke that so-called resistance, and you could have potentially captured 25 points. But why would you have waited there to buy when you could have purchased it 1 day in advance of that breakout? Now, if you even missed that, guess what? Next Level Candlestick, the Candlestick Combo, was giving you 2 more chances to get in and take advantage of this upward move. This just happened about a month ago. Here's another example in ROP. Okay, we're in an uptrend, right? Conventional wisdom, trading candlesticks would tell us, well, we're going up, so now we look for a reversal pattern to go down. Well, no, we're not going to trade them that way. We are only going to trade candles in sync with the trend. And if the trend is up, well, we click on strategy 5, click on signal arrow, and we check our work, and there's a valid strategy 5 signal. If we want to take it up to the next level, click on PET D. And yes, it's outlined green. So this is a valid candlestick combo next level signal. And 42 points in just 3 days, okay? This is how simple it is when you're trading the candlestick combo. How about a weekly chart? Let's say you're not a day trader or looking at daily charts. You're more of a swing trader or an investor. Okay, same process applies. We're kind of heading higher. Someone would say, well, let's look for a reversal pattern. No, strategy 5 looks for a buy signal. Next Level Trading says that it's outlined green. So that's a valid buy signal. This was at the end of last year, beginning of this year. And we see that CrowdStrike went up 95 points in just 6 weeks, coming into a couple of months ago. How about if you're a forex trader? Okay, here's a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar. This was just last week. Okay, and now looking in hindsight, sure, it was really easy to see that this has been going up. But how could we have taken advantage of it with the candlestick combo? Well, next level trading, once again, all we have to do is click on strategy 5, and we have all these buy signals. And if we want to take it up one more notch, we apply the pet D, and we see that each and every one of these signals was outlined green. So if you had taken the first one, you could have potentially captured 175 pips. That's nearly $1,800 per unit that you could have made just in about 4 or 5 days, just trading this. How about team here? This is how most people like to trade candlesticks. You'll see this and you go, hey, this is a bearish engulfing pattern, okay? So we've been going higher. Now I have a reversal pattern. So this is the way I was taught to trade candlesticks. This is what you'll say to yourself. So this has got to be a great sell signal. So I'm going to go short because this is the way, I was taught, and this is the way you make money. And then look what happens, okay? This is why we don't put a lot of credence into conventional ways of trading candlesticks. Sure, every once in a while they'll work, but over time, you see more and more of this. They just don't really work that well. It's much better if you are in sync with the trend, applying candlesticks. So strategy number 5 is in sync with the trend. It generates a signal. But if you want to take it to the next level to give you that assurance, you apply the pet D. And yes, the bar above the buy signal is colored or outlined green. So this is a valid candlestick combo setup. And look what happened. You could have potentially captured 60 points in the next couple of weeks. Now, the trend started to dissipate and started to head lower. With that, the bar started to turn red. So what's this telling us? We're not going to be a buyer. We know that because if the strategy generates a buy signal, we're not going to take it. But look what happened. It actually generated a sell signal, and the bar below it is colored red. So this is a valid candlestick combo sell signal. So you could have potentially captured 60 points on the buy, and on the sell, potentially captured 65 points to the downside. Now, a lot of students say, well, yeah, Steve, that means you would have had to buy it right here and then sell right at the top to get 60 points, and then sell right here and cover your short right here at the bottom to make 65 points. Okay, so let's say you didn't do that. Remember, I said potentially you could have captured. Let's say you only got half of that. All right, so you made 30 points instead of, or I should say 60 points instead of 125, right? Would you be happy with 60-point gain in about a month? Let's say you only made a quarter of that. So let's say you made 30 points. Would you be happy with a 30-point gain? You see, it's all relative. You can take as much as you'd like when you have a nice, consistent method. All right, let's take another look here. This is a buy signal in the euro dollar. This is a daily chart of the euro dollar. Once again, looks like the stock is basically going, or I should say the currency pair is basically going sideways. Most traders would even apply candles to this because they say, well, you need a trend either up or down to tell you where the reversal is. Well, not with strategy number 5. We don't need that trending in that way. All we need to do is have the pet D confirm what the trend is. And as you can see, a buy signal was generated and the pet D confirmed it, coloring it green. 600 pips. It's roughly about $6,000 in the next week or two just by applying the candlestick combo. Once again, potentially you could have captured that. Now, if you're an investor, not to worry, you can still apply this. Nothing needs to be altered or changed because you're looking at monthly long-term charts. Here's a monthly bar chart of Costco. Nothing changes. You apply strategy number 5, and look at all the buy signals that were generated in sync with the trend. Now, if we wanted to take it to the next level of the candlestick combo, we apply the pet D, and we see that each and every one of these bars above the buy signal was colored or outlined green. Potentially, going back to 2011, you could have potentially captured 1,000 points just using this simple candlestick combo process. All right, so we've looked at buy setups. Let's look at some sell setups, okay? These are more recent because we've seen the market and how it's recently acted. All right, here's a chart of Honeywell coming into this month. It's in a steady uptrend, right? Okay. We apply strategy number 5. and it's generating a sell signal. Now you say, well, wait a minute, I thought we're supposed to trade in sync with the trend. The trend is up, but remember, what really is going to tell us what the trend is? The PET D. So we apply the PET D, and we see that even though all the other bars were colored or outlined green, this one was red. So it's okay. This is still a valid sell signal using the candlestick combo, even though the bars are going up. And look what happened. It fell 30 points coming into the first week, or second week, I should say, of April. It was just a week or so ago. Here's another example in BIIB, all right, in Biogen. Someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, I went to that chat room, or I listened to that guy on TV. He says there's major support here, so you've got to buy this, all right? This is how most traders trade. They rely on someone or something else to tell them what to do. Why not just listen to the market? Because strategy number 5 is based off market behavior, and the PET D is a translator for what the market wants to do on a tick-by-tick basis. So all of it is coming from what the market is saying, not from what some guy is saying what the institutions are doing, or what some economic report is saying, or what some bank is doing. We don't care about those things. We're just interested in what the market's telling us. So if we apply strategy number 5, click on signal arrow, we see that based on a pattern, the market is telling us that it wants to go lower. But if we want to take it to the next level candlestick, we apply the PET D. And now we see that the bar below the sell signal was colored or outlined red. Remember, it doesn't matter what the bars were before or after. All that matters is the bar below the arrow. So that's enough to tell us that, well, there's no support here. Most likely, this is going to head lower. So you can either sidestep buying this stock and stay on the sidelines, or if you're more aggressive, go short or buy some puts. It fell 35 points coming into last week or so. All right, another chart where it looks like it's basically doing nothing, right? Excuse me, it's basically just going sideways. Now, conventional wisdom, once again, if you trade the traditional style of candlesticks, would say, well, there's a bullish engulfing pattern, Steve, you've got to buy this because that's extremely bullish, as it says in the title, okay? So let's say you bought that. This is why we don't really tell our students to trade candles in the traditional method, because let's say you had gone long just based on that traditional candle pattern. Well, how would you have felt in the next week when it went straight down after that? Okay. So we would have told our students, don't buy this because there's absolutely no signal. There's no strategy number 5 signal. Wait for strategy 5, which is based on a true candle pattern. And that would have generated a signal right here. Now, taking it up to the next level, we apply the PET D to see if that bar is colored red. And yes, it was. So this was the signal you should have taken, not this one. And you could have potentially captured 55 points to the downside, or at least saved yourself 55 points if you were long. Now, I know a lot of students would say, yeah, but Steve, this buy signal, the bar above it was colored or outlined green. Well, that's true. But remember, it was not a valid strategy number 5 buy signal. There was no green arrow below it. That was just based off of traditional candlestick patterns. Strategy number 5 is entirely different. It bases it off of a different source of information. All right, here's a sell signal in crowd, okay? This is a daily chart now. All right, we have a valid strategy 5 setup, but if we want to take it to the next level, we have to see that that bar is colored red by the PET D. So we add the PET D, and yes, it's colored red. Now, even though it's nice that the bars before it were red or outlined red, it doesn't matter. All that matters is this bar right here. 75 points coming into last week. See how it could have helped you during the market decline? Let's look at ISRG. Now, in hindsight, once again, someone would say, gosh, I was long this in my portfolio. How did I know it was going to get killed? How could I have, taken advantage of this or gotten out or at least placed my stop? Well, you could have. If you had followed the simple process we're sharing with you. Here was a sell signal. So if you were long, you could have used this to exit. And once you applied the PET D, this was a very valid setup to go short or exit. You could have saved yourself 90 points to the downside, or made 90 points by shorting the stock or buying puts. All right, here's a weekly chart of the dollar yen, where obviously we've been in a downtrend for the last 8 weeks or so, okay? Now, most traders would say, okay, well, I'm looking for some type of a bottom. We've been going down for too long, for 2 months, straight down. I'm not going to short this because it's gone down too much. But remember, next level candlestick trading says you trade in sync with the trend. So if we are in a clear-cut downtrend, we're looking actually to continue to sell. Now, most traders don't like this because they say, well, it's gone down too far. How can I sell it even more? Well, this is the beauty and the consistency of the candlestick combo, because we did generate a sell signal right here, and it was confirmed by the pet D. So even though you may say to yourself, I can't sell now, it's gone down too far. Well, you still could have potentially captured upwards of 650 pips by selling the dollar yen on a weekly time frame. All right, let's look at a weekly chart of REGN, Regeneron, okay? Once again, same process. We've been heading lower as well, not as intensely down, but still heading lower. So you say to yourself, well, maybe we're bottoming here. Maybe we have a double bottom, one here and one here. So I'm not going to sell short, or maybe you're still long and you're saying to yourself, well, I'm going to hold on because it looks like it may be building some type of a base here, okay? This is the way we try to convince ourselves that everything's okay. But we apply strategy 5, click on signal arrow, and we see that right here in March, just last month, it was generating a sell signal. You say to yourself, well, how can I go short, or how can I exit my long position? It's been going down for the last 3-4 months. But if we apply the pet D, it's confirming it. In fact, all of the bars have been colored red. So this is extremely powerful sell signal in the candlestick combo. If you didn't exit your position or go short, you would have been kicking yourself because the stock fell another 140 points coming into the first week of April. Okay, let's recap what we talked about today. Only buy or sell strategy number 5 signals, whether they're up or down, but they have to be in sync with the pet D. This is how you'll increase your odds for consistency trading candlesticks. Remember, the traditional candlestick way of trading doesn't show and display a lot of consistency. I just shared with you a couple of examples. You'll see a few more in just the upcoming slides, but there's not a lot of consistency. But you will increase your odds for consistency if you apply strategy 5, our non-traditional candle method, along with the pet D. This is what we call the candlestick combo. So ask yourself, do you think these two methods, strategy 5 and pet D, can help your trading for the remainder of 2025? Well, with the volatility we've recently seen in the markets, and it seems like there's going to be a lot more in the coming year, I really think the candlestick combo can help you. So because of this, we have a great special discount for all of you attending today. We're going to offer you our Candlestick Combo Special. This is strategy number 5. Along with the pet D, you'll get instant course access, detailed video instruction. Now, we didn't talk about it today, but you'll learn all the different entry points, exit points, and stop placement. So you'll get the entire course rules. Now, this comes along with the pet D. Now, with the pet D, as an extra bonus, you'll get 4 separate, entirely different trading techniques. They're not based on candles at all. They're just a way in which to trade with the pet D, entirely different. We'll explain how to do that in the course. So you're not only getting the candlestick combo, you're getting 4 different ways to trade with the pet D alone, okay? So this is an amazing advantage because you basically have 5 different ways to trade with our candlestick combo special. Now, everything you saw today was displayed one-click access using the PTS Primo charting platform that I developed to make trading simple. So here's what we're going to do. Now, normally a full year will cost you close to $1,800. If you decide to become a Candlestick Combo student of mine, we're going to throw in a full year absolutely free. So with one click, you'll be able to access strategy 5 signals, and then with another click, you'll be able to access the pet D. But there's so much more included. All right, you'll get proprietary buy and sell line telling you in an instant what the overall trend is of any market, any time frame. You'll get a scanner. You can scan for nightly strategy 5 signals. You can scan for pet D signals. You can scan for the candlestick combo signals on a nightly basis. Automatic exit levels. With one click, you'll find out where different exit levels are for you. Automatic entry levels as well. And a strength of trend tool. So you'll be able to see if a trend has a lot more steam left in it or if it's running out of gas, okay? This all comes with personalized tech support. If you ever have any problem, tech support will be there to answer your questions and to get you back up and running. Now, Here's one of the main things we want to stress. Strategy 5 is great, but the PET D, as I said, comes with so many more advantages. So let's talk for a second about the PET D directional tool. Because not only will it help you confirm and get these consistent trades, but it will also keep you out of trouble. For example, here's a chart in Costco. Now, this is a daily chart going back to the beginning of the year. Strategy number 5 generated 3 signals here, 2 sells and 1 buy. So if you're just trading strategy 5 by itself, a lot of students say, well, Steve, I'm confused. Which one do I take? This is where the power of the PET D comes into play, because once you apply the PET D, click it on, it will tell you which signal to take by coloring the bar, either green or red. Now, if we get a sell signal, the bar below it needs to be colored or outlined red. If we get a buy signal, the bar above it needs to be colored or outlined green. So let's apply the PET D. Okay, now we have the colors. What colors are the sell signal bars? They're both green. So this is telling us do not take these sell signals. But what color is the bar above the buy signal? It's outlined green. So this is telling us that it's okay to take this buy signal. So this was just a couple months ago, and you could have potentially captured 110 points in Costco. Here's another example of the power of the PET D. This was in MDB. This was just about a month ago. The strategy 5 generated 3 signals, 2 sells once again, and a buy. So which ones do we take? This is where students get confused. This is the beauty of the PET D. Once you apply it, you see that the sell signals had red bars below the arrows, and the buy signal also had a red bar. So we're not going to take this buy signal because it needed to be colored or outlined green. But we can take these sell signals. And look what happened. 90 points. And isn't it funny how a week after these valid candlestick combo signals were generated, the stock gapped down, okay? This was in MDB. This just happened about a month ago. Now, if you're still not convinced, I want you to think about what the market has done the past month or two, okay? It's fallen out of bed. It's really taken a lot of traders by surprise. A lot of traders have lost a lot of money in your 401k and your long-term positions. Everyone's saying, gosh, I didn't see this coming. Well, actually, our students of the Candlestick Combo did see it coming. Why? Well, here's a chart of GSPC. That's the chart for the S&P 500 index. And if we look and see here, here is a valid strategy number 5 sell signal. All right. The market is heading lower. And if we look at the date, this was the very first week of March, roughly a little over a month ago. Okay. So it's a valid strategy number 5 signal. If we wanted to take it to the next level, all we have to do is apply the PET D. Now, if that bar is colored or outlined green, well, we would not have taken the sell signal. But our students of our Candlestick Combo knew to take it because why? It was colored red. This was on March 3rd, okay? So if you're sitting there complaining why you lost so much money or how come you didn't know the market was going to go down, if you have our simple tools and methods, you would have known and taken advantage of the large, nearly 1,015 points that happened coming into roughly this past week or so. Now, that's 1,015 S&P 500 points. That transferred over into 6,500 Dow Jones Industrial Average points. Now, we're not saying you would have been able to capture all of that, but at least you would have known and in advance that the market was heading lower based off the Candlestick Combo. So this is the beauty of this great course. It can really help you, has a high level of consistency, and will take your candlestick trading to the next level. All right, let's break it down. Now, the Candlestick Combo, Strategy 5 and the PET D normally run for 54.54. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to discount it nearly 50%. We're dropping it down to only $29.95. You're going to save nearly $2,500. But we're not only going to give you that option. That's a great, I believe, 45% discount. We're also going to give you an even better option. If that's still too expensive for you to come up with in one lump sum, don't worry. We'll also offer you a super discount of our $497 one-time pay, and then you just establish a monthly payment plan of $97 per month, okay? So you have 2 options. You can either get the 45% discount at $29.95, you'll save nearly $2,500 and pay in full, or You get the super discount and decide to have a one-time payment of $497, less than $500, and just establish a monthly payment of $97. Either way you decide to go, you're still getting a full year free of the platform with all the extra little additions and advantages of scanning and clicking on one access with the Pet D and strategy number 5, along with a host of different things that you'll only find on the platform. None of the major platforms have these things because I've taken them for my nearly 5 decades of trading, and many things I've taken from the trading floor that you won't find anywhere else. Now, remember, if you're still trading candlesticks in the traditional sense, you're going to see this happen so much because there's just not a lot of consistency. Remember, traditional candlesticks tell you that you look for a trend to be established, and then you look for a candle pattern that's a reversal pattern, such as right here. Here's another bearish engulfing pattern, one of the most prominent bearish patterns you'll find. So most students would say, well, Steve, I'm doing okay with candlesticks. I spent $5,000, $10,000 on that course, and it seems to be pretty valid. Well, how valid if you would have sold here would have been if it went higher and higher. You see how this doesn't work? There's not a lot of consistency. And just by applying the Pet D, even if you want to use any strategy, the Pet D can confirm if you're in sync. Because even if you just use this to sell, the Pet D was telling us, nope, the bar is not red, so you don't want to take it, and therefore it would have saved you a lot of trouble. A year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Candlestick Combo course. Take advantage of those 2 offers. Either take the 45% discount, the one-time pay, or the super discount of only $497, less than $500, a one-time payment, and establish a $97 per month payment plan, okay? Either way you decide to go, you will get a full year free, absolutely free, of the platform, okay? All right, here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. I would highly recommend giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. If you just have a question concerning data or markets or tech support, they would be happy to answer any question you have, or establishing a payment plan. They'd be happy to take your order over the phone or give you the quote or give you any information you like concerning the Candlestick Combo or any of the other methods we have at Specialist Trading, okay? Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page for the Candlestick Combo and the sign-up page as well. Now, it's not a live link. You're going to have to copy and paste that onto your browser. But if you go to the webinar chat, the little chat icon box in the Zoom category there, just click that on and you'll see that they've just posted a live link to that link. Then you just click that on and you'll get a browser open up, okay? So I'm going to leave this information up here. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask me. You can ask me any question you like or anything concerning what we just went over today. Someone's saying, Steve, I saw weekly charts, I saw monthly charts, I saw daily charts. Does this also work on intraday charts? Yes, it does. It makes no difference because in the opening we stated some of the highlights of this. It can be applied to any market, any time frame, and any direction. So it makes no difference what time frame you're trading. We have students that trade this on 5-minute charts. We also have students that trade it on monthly charts, as you just saw. It makes absolutely no difference. One of the best things about our methods is that they transfer easily onto any market or time frame. So I've seen so many other times with other so-called educators, they have a great system or a great strategy, but if you want to apply it to another market, you have to purchase an entirely new method because it doesn't work on that other market. It's just specifically formatted for a specific time frame, a specific stock or specific future. We don't believe in that. We believe if something is highly consistent, it should easily be transferred onto any market or time frame. So I'm happy to say that the majority of everything we teach is easily transferred and you can apply it to anything. So yes, you can use it intraday stocks, intraday forex, or intraday futures if you like, okay? Steve, I came in late. I don't know if you mentioned this, but does the Pet D repaint? No, it doesn't. So once, as I said earlier, you probably missed this, once the bar closes, if the bar closes and the Pet D is colored green, it stays green. It doesn't repaint the way some other indicators do. Now, while the bar is open, let's say you're looking at an hourly chart. Within that hour, the Pet D may go back from a green to a red to a green to a red, okay? So yeah, because it's reformatting. Remember, it's translating on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. So it may go back and forth. But once the bar closes, it stays at that color. So many of our strategies are based off market closing bars. We don't trade while the bar is fluctuating before it's timed out because we want to see where the bar closes. So there's nothing to worry about where you have to worry while the bar is in play. Once the bar closes, that will be the color of the PET D. It does not repaint the way so many other indicators do as well, okay? Someone's asking about tech support. Yes, once you sign up, you get unlimited tech support. You can call up anytime you like, and someone will be there to help you right away, answer your questions. Also, this is another thing that many students ask. If you want to check your work, or if you just want me to answer any questions concerning actually trading of the candlestick combo, each and every one of my students gets my personal email address. You can contact me whenever you'd like, prior to the opening, after the close, even during the market hours, or even during the weekend. You can contact me and I will answer your questions as soon as possible. So it's the next best thing to having me sit right next to you, okay? Okay, good questions. Remember, even if you just have some more questions once we've concluded this presentation, don't worry, don't hesitate to contact Pro Trader Strategies at 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. We know a lot of people are always afraid to call up because they say, well, they're going to pressure me to buy something. No, there won't be any pressure at all. They'll answer any of your questions. They're very flexible and they're there to work with you, okay? Okay, as we close and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for taking the time out of your Wednesday once again to see this educational presentation. I really hope you learned something about our new and innovative way to trade candlesticks, but most especially, I look forward to you becoming a student of mine in the Candlestick Combo course. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best of luck, and as always, look forward to seeing you in class. Bye-bye.